AMD opened the session at $160.93, hit a high of $164.18, and didn't fall below $160.49 during the day. Solid stability for a stock that has swung wildly over the last 52 weeks. High $186.65, low $76.48. Those numbers tell two stories at once. The market still loves the AMD growth narrative, but there's a lot of runway left between today's price and the peak. The price action, quick facts, and why they matter. Daily trading details like open/high/low are more than tick marks. They show intraday conviction. An open at $160.93 with a modest intraday high around $164 and a low near $160.50 tells us buyers were comfortable defending levels just below the open. Zoom out and the 52-week band, high $186.65, low $76.48, gives context. AMD has seen swings larger than a roller coaster, but recent trading suggests consolidation after a run-up. That consolidation phase is often where strategic news, supply shifts, policy changes, or manufacturing partnerships can trigger the next leg up. Why AMD relies on TSMC, and why that's a double-edged sword. AMD's chips, CPUs, and accelerators have historically been manufactured by TSMC, the Taiwanese contract giant that makes chips for the world. TSMC's leading-edge nodes and massive capacity have been a bedrock for AMD's product performance and cost profile. In plain terms, AMD designs the recipes, and TSMC bakes them in the state-of-the-art ovens that make those recipes sing. That partnership enabled AMD to leapfrog competitors in performance per watt and time to market for multiple product generations. But that close reliance is also a vulnerability, geopolitical risk. Taiwan sits in a geopolitically sensitive spot. Any strain in cross-strait relations, or disruptions in Taiwan's supply chain logistics, would hit AMD hard. Capacity competition. TSMC's fab capacity is finite and hotly contested. Big customers include Apple, Nvidia, and others. A production slot is a scarce and valuable thing. Pricing and leverage. Heavy dependence limits AMD's negotiation power on price and priority during tight cycles. Imagine a high-end restaurant that outsources all its pastries to a single famed bakery across town. If the bakery gets a staff shortage or a delivery truck fails, the restaurant's dessert menu suffers, and that's a reputational hit. AMD's dessert is performance leadership. TSMC is the bakery. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. Why diversifying manufacturing matters, the strategic logic. Diversification in chip manufacturing is not merely a nice to have. It can be transformational for three reasons. Resilience. Add capacity from other foundries or domestic production, and you reduce the single point of failure risk. Negotiating leverage. If AMD can credibly threaten to shift volume, TSMC faces pressure to be more flexible on pricing and priority. Market access and policy agility. Different production footprints help navigate export controls and trade policy. If one route is restricted, another might be available. For AMD, a diversified manufacturing base would look like a portfolio. TSMC for bleeding-edge node leadership, Intel Foundry or another partner for mid-range nodes and capacity buffers, and maybe localized capacity for specific markets or product lines. That mix improves continuity and offers optionality during geopolitical storms. Think of AMD as an international food brand that wants to serve identical dishes worldwide. If it relies only on one single commissary in one city, any strike or storm shuts the menu. Spread small kitchens around the world, and you keep serving, even if the main kitchen has a hiccup. The export control thread, temporary relief and what it means. U.S. export controls on advanced AI chips to China have been a moving target over the last year. At times, the U.S. tightened rules that effectively prevented the sale of some high-end accelerators. At other times, the administration eased certain restrictions, allowing modified or slightly less powerful chips to be exported under license. Those policy shifts are not trivial. China is a massive demand center for AI compute, and regaining even partial access eases near-term revenue pressure for companies that sell compute chips. For AMD, any loosening that allows certain accelerators back into China is temporary relief. It restores a sales channel but doesn't remove the geopolitical fog. Practical effect: if AMD can ship certain models or slightly altered SKUs to China again, revenue that would otherwise be blocked can come back into the P&L. But policy volatility remains. A win one month can be constrained the next if political winds change. It's like being allowed back into a nightclub with a slightly different dress code every week. You're in, until the bouncer changes his mood. The Intel Foundry talks, why this is a headline and why it matters. Here's the eyebrow raiser. Recent reports indicate Intel is in early discussions with AMD to act as a foundry customer, i.e., AMD potentially using Intel's manufacturing capacity. That would be a remarkable twist. AMD and Intel are long-standing rivals on the CPU front, but in the foundry era every silicon relationship is made of pragmatism. Reuters and other outlets reported on these early-stage talks. If they progress, this could be a major strategic pivot for both companies. Why Intel? Intel has been investing heavily in its foundry business, building fabs and courting customers, as part of a comeback strategy. For Intel, winning a marquee client like AMD is a credibility and volume win. For AMD, having Intel as an alternate high-quality foundry would add capacity during TSMC tight cycles, reduce geopolitical risk by placing some production on U.S. soil or other Intel fab locations, provide better negotiation leverage with TSMC, supply-demand dynamics shift if AMD has credible swap options. Imagine AMD is a major smartphone brand that suddenly discovers Apple, TSMC's biggest client analog, needs extra factory space for its own models. If AMD can no longer secure enough time on the best lines, it scores space at Intel's new fab shop next door and keeps the product launches on schedule. Important caveat: these are early, preliminary conversations. Deals of this size require enormous technical alignment and supply chain legal work. Nothing's done until it's done. But the mere possibility changes market perceptions and buy-side calculus if it looks credible. AMD has more possibilities and could hit $2,400 in coming decades. Note this as well. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, "Who then can be saved?" But Jesus beheld them, and said unto them, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all, and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Jesus said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Matthew 19:25-30. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.